your nation, your province, your southern Alberta. From the heart of Lethbridge, it's Bridge City News Weekend Edition.
Hello, I'm Naveen Day. It's Sunday, September the 21st. We begin our show with some international news following our live broadcast of Charlie Kirk's funeral. One of the big stories south of the border, the man accused of assassinating the conservative commentator at a Utah university was officially charged on Tuesday. 22-year-old Tyler Robinson is facing a long list of charges, which were read in Provo, Utah.
Count 1, aggravated murder, a capital offense for intentionally or knowingly causing the death of Charlie Kirk under circumstances that created a great risk of death to others. Count 2, felony discharge of a firearm causing serious bodily injury, a first-degree felony. The state is further alleging aggravating factors on counts 1 and 2 because the defendant is believed to have targeted Charlie Kirk based on Charlie Kirk's political expression and did so knowing that children were present and would witness the homicide. Also, following the press conference, I am filing a notice of intent to seek the death penalty. I do not take this decision lightly, and it is a decision I have made independently as county attorney, based solely on the available evidence and circumstances and nature of the crime. DNA consistent with Robinson was found on the rifle's trigger. After shooting Mr. Kirk, Robinson hid the gun, discarded the clothing he wore when he fired the rifle, and told his roommate to delete incriminating text messages and not talk to police.
Authorities have released texts where Robinson appears to confess to killing Kirk, but conservative commentators and influencers are painting a conspiracy claiming the texts have been doctored to absolve Robinson's transitioning partner of any responsibility in the shooting. Utah Governor Spencer Cox has said that the partner, described as a male transitioning to female, had no advanced knowledge of the crime and has been cooperating fully with authorities. Also in a New York courtroom this week, a judge dismissed terrorism charges against Luigi Mangione in the killing of UnitedHealthcare CEO Brian Thompson. But the judge kept the state's second-degree murder charges against him. We get more now from Michael Sisak with the Associated Press.
Judge Gregory Caro left intact a lesser murder charge, second-degree murder. That charge still carries the possibility of life in prison. But it nonetheless was a victory for Mangione. Mangione walked into court in a beige jail jumpsuit. He was there for several minutes as Judge Caro summarized his ruling, and then he walked out, his hands shackled to his body, and raised his eyebrows as he passed the crowd of supporters in the courtroom. His lawyers were trying to get the entire state case dismissed. They argued that it was double jeopardy. Judge Caro said that it's premature at this stage to entertain the notion of double jeopardy because neither the state case against Mangione or a parallel federal prosecution have gone to trial.
If convicted of the remaining second-degree murder charge, Mangione faces a minimum sentence of 15 to 25 years in prison. He has also been charged with weapons and forgery crimes. Back on Canadian soil, members of Parliament returned to the House of Commons this week as the fall session of Parliament kicked off. And when question period opened, Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre was quick to square off for the first time with Prime Minister Mark Carney.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister mentioned how much had changed, and it's true. I look around this place, and when I left, there was a Liberal Prime Minister who was making excuses about breaking promises, running massive deficits, costs, crime, chaos were all out of control. And whereas today, we have a Liberal Prime Minister breaking promises, making excuses, running massive deficits with costs, crime, and chaos out of control. Mr. Speaker, when will the Prime Minister match the grand promises with the real change Canadians need?
Here, here, here. The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I understand the Minister, or the Minister, promotion. Come on over. understand the Leader of the Opposition was busy. He missed the largest tax cut for 22 million Canadians. He missed the cut on the GST for new homes. He missed eliminating all federal barriers to trade. He missed, I hope I'll have another opportunity to finish a very long list of what the Leader of Opposition.
It's like a soap opera in the House sometimes. Prior to getting the session underway, Government House Leader Stephen McKinnon said he's under no illusions about the prospects for cooperation with Conservatives, but the minority government will need opposition votes to pursue its agenda. The NDP has said it won't pursue or it won't support an austerity budget. With Parliament back in session, the Canadian Labour Congress is sounding the alarm about the next federal budget. The Liberals are expected to introduce an austerity budget in November, but the CLC says you can't cut your way out of a crisis.
A nation-building project today has to mean more than steel, lumber, and concrete. It means universal public programs like pharmacare, like childcare, like healthcare. It means valuing the very workers that keep our communities functioning and thriving. And it means providing a strong social safety net that will help families get through difficult times. Nation building means things like reforming our outdated employment insurance system so that it is actually accessible and provides adequate income supports when workers need it the most. Because right now, too many workers are excluded from the benefits that they have already paid into. We need a universal 360-hour entry requirement. We need a higher benefit rate. We need longer durations. And we need automatic adjustments so that when the economy weakens, those workers are being caught.
On Wednesday, the Bank of Canada cut its key interest rate by a quarter point to 2.5%. This breaks a streak of 3 consecutive holds since March as the central bank worries less about inflation risks and more about a slowing economy. Governor Tiff Macklem says policymakers felt it was the right time to shore up the economy against U.S. trade disruption.
You know, if you look at the inflation data, there is some more comfort that some of those upward pressures we saw in underlying inflation are easing off. There's still some mixed signals there, and I indicated, we know tariffs are disrupting trade. We know businesses are looking for new suppliers. They're looking for new markets. That is bringing new costs. So we're going to be watching those costs carefully and how those get passed through. I think, the guidance really is we're not as forward-looking. We're not being as forward-looking as normal, and we're paying close attention to the risks and uncertainties. We demonstrated today, if those shifts, we're prepared to take action.
A shocking story out of Toronto this week. Police are releasing details about the death of a 62-year-old homeless man. Police say he was violently attacked on August the 31st. He was rushed to hospital after being treated for his injuries. He was released. Police say, sadly, the man died on September the 4th from injuries related to the attack. The shocking part is the age of the accused.
Today, we are announcing that 2 individuals have been arrested and charged with this murder. What is very concerning is the age of one of the accused. A 12-year-old male who cannot be identified has been charged with second-degree murder, along with a 20-year-old man, Isaiah Byers, 20, of Toronto. This is very concerning to our community. Chief Demke raised this as a call to action last week, given 8 of the 31 homicides have youth facing homicide charges.
Early in this investigation, we learned that this homicide was part of a series of violent attacks that took place on the morning of August 31st in the downtown core. This was a disturbing crime spree. These assaults took place between 5:45 and 8:07 in the morning. All of these attacks were extremely violent, and they targeted vulnerable members of our city. Through our investigation, we have learned that more people may have been approached by the 2 accused on the morning of the attacks, or that people may have witnessed these attacks. We would like these people to come forward so that we can get more information from you.
Police in Nova Scotia have laid 66 sex-related charges against an ex-swim instructor at a youth corrections facility. The charges come after a 4-year investigation and involve some 30 alleged victims at the Waterville Youth Centre.
In 2021, Operation Headwind was officially established and by 2022, it had expanded to a 14-member unit dedicated solely to this investigation. On Saturday, September 13th, 75-year-old Donald Douglas Williams was safely arrested at his home in Dartmouth. Doug Williams was the Nova Scotia Youth Centre swim instructor between 1988 and 2017. At this point, he's facing a total of 66 charges, including 3 counts of sexual assault causing bodily harm, 28 counts of sexual assault, 32 counts of sexual exploitation, 1 count of sexual interference, 1 count of invitation to sexual touching, and 1 count of assault.
Police believe Williams assaulted more than 300 youths between the ages of 12 and 18 from 1989 to 2015. Here in Alberta, the war of words between the Alberta government and the Alberta Teachers Association heated up this week. The government filed a complaint with the Labour Relations Board over a document from the Provincial Teachers Union that it alleges contained false information. The document, titled Talking Points, was released by the union on August 29th and gives teachers guidance on how to explain the bargaining situation to parents and students. The government alleges that one of the false claims is that the Teachers Employer Bargaining Association, or TEBA, doesn't have the mandate to negotiate class complexity, class size, and supports for students. In the complaint before the Labour Board, Finance Minister Nate Horner is demanding the Alberta Teachers Association and its president, Jason Schilling, immediately retract their false claims. But Schilling has since fired back in a statement saying the document is not misleading. It's the truth. When we return, more stories from around Alberta. Welcome back. Here's more of what's happening around Alberta. The Alberta Law Enforcement Response Team, or ALERT, has dismantled a major drug trafficking network and made one of the largest drug seizures in Alberta history. Project Cerebus was a 2-year investigation led by ALERT's organized crime team, along with the Calgary Police, the RCMP, and the U.S. Drug Enforcement Agency. ALERT alleges a crime group was obtaining cartel cocaine from Mexico, smuggling it into Canada for nationwide distribution. 61 kilograms of coke was seized in Manitoba in March of 2024, and another 96 kilos was seized by the DEA in Houston, Texas last October. That 157 kilos of cocaine had a street value of $15 million. The seizures also netted investigators 15 firearms and about $1 million in cash. On September the 8th, 35-year-old Jack Kostjaniak of Edmonton was sentenced to 135 months, or just over 11 years in prison in Texas, after pleading guilty to possession with the intent to distribute. 5 other suspects are facing charges here in Alberta. They have been released and are scheduled to appear in court later this month and in early October. The Lethbridge and District Exhibition announced Thursday that it's rebranding into 2 separate entities. The Lethbridge and District Agricultural Society will focus on the community's agricultural roots dating back to 1897, while Excite Lethbridge will partner with the Ag Society to develop and host events, plus trade and convention opportunities. Additionally, the Agri-Food Hub and Trade Center is now renamed the Lethbridge Trade and Convention Center. The city says the idea behind the reorganization is to ensure greater efficiency and further promote Lethbridge as an agriculture hub.
Definitely really excited about what's going on. This partnership between Excite and the new Lethbridge Ag Society, this was grassroots, something that was born out of a lot of conversations between the city of Lethbridge and the Ag Society to create something that they think is new, fresh, and going to really represent both our agricultural society, but other events and functions that are going to be a huge benefit to the Lethbridge city and area.
You know, in talking to the minister, he was, and this is going back a couple of years, is when all of this had started, is to go back to the grassroots, to go back to what Southern Alberta is, and that's, the agricultural society. I think over time we lost some of that, and so, but what it changed to is some of the event attraction stuff is also important. So we thought it was important to be able to separate those two, go back to those grassroots of having that egg society, but also be able to continue forward with event attractions. So I think they'll really complement each other very well.
The previously known exhibition was recommended to split by consultants to the city amid ongoing financial challenges that have placed the exhibition under city ownership. The Lethbridge Police Service's Victim Witness Unit is seeking individuals to join the Crisis Support Worker Team. That team provides vital care and guidance to victims and witnesses during the most difficult moments of their lives. According to Catherine Pooley, Program Manager with the LPS Services Unit, last year the team supported around 2,145 people and responded to 255 call-outs. She explains how important it is to be present during the critical moments following a traumatic event.
We respond 24/7. We always have coverage to respond out on scene with officers, and then we also provide follow-up support for people as they navigate through the criminal justice process. Could be a shoplifting, a mischief situation. We would call in support and make sure they have all the court information they need as they navigate, all the way down to intense, harmful situations like homicides. We've been to domestic violence. We regularly are dealing with sexual violence, things like that. So we put all of our volunteers through a very robust training. This year we're looking for between 15 to 20 people to join our team.
To be able to give back to the community, and I think especially in the world today, a lot of what we see and hear is a lot of bad news. And so to be a part of something that can be a little bit of good for someone going through something is an experience like no other. We do have a facility dog who sometimes people, again, just need that presence, and the dog really helps with that, especially with kids, I would say. He's able to bring to the victims, makes a huge difference for people.
People allowing us into their space on the worst day of their life, and they welcome you in, and we just walk them through a process. When police get to a scene, they have a job to do, and we can bring a more human side to it.
The unit is seeking individuals who are 18 years of age or older, have a clear criminal record check, and hold a valid Class 5 driver's license, and are willing to be on call 2 shifts per month. Applications are being accepted online until October the 15th. The city of Lethbridge is attempting to promote itself as a prime filming destination for major movie and TV projects. Screen Lethbridge is a collaborative project to promote the city and region for big-name film production companies and lift up local filmmakers in the process. The city says the production of Ghostbusters Afterlife and The Last of Us, which were primarily filmed in southern Alberta, brought widespread economic success. And the city was a part of the momentum of showing the region's beauty and untapped potential.
So far, we've been scouting locations all through the city, whether it's city property or private property, and we've been placing them on a locations database in Lethbridge. And we also I've been personally working on a program for the city directly, and the way that it works is it's supposed to be a very seamless process as to permitting and requesting any property filming in the city. We want to make it as easy as possible for location managers and producers to come in and just book the property, make it seamless as possible.
Alberta has all of the scenery, but it's also a much cheaper place to do those kinds of productions. And credit to the provincial government, they have a tax incentive program that Lethbridge can tap into. There's actually an additional incentive if you're outside of Edmonton and Calgary. So the government's done a good job of promoting rural. And I think, those tax incentives combined with low cost and all the available talent just makes it a no-brainer for production firms to look outside the traditional centers, even in, the Vancouvers and Torontos of the world.
HBO's The Last of Us contributed over $183 million to the province's GDP and created around 1,500 jobs after it was filmed throughout the province in 2021 and 2022. The City of Lethbridge's annual Mayor's Luncheon for Business and the Arts was held Wednesday afternoon at the Sandman Signature. The luncheon recognized some of the city's top art and business commitments and vibrancy to the local community. Mayor Blaine Higgins says he is proud to honor some of the young aspiring recipients and arts-supportive businesses that participate with the civic government to enhance local creativity.
It's great to be able to be back here. It shows the importance of arts within our community and the support, arts in all kinds, and what it does and how inviting it is to our community. It's great to be able to see the support that council does and the community does for the arts.
Well, I'm very honored and very tickled that they picked me because it's just something I enjoy to do. And I love my students and I love to make art. Everybody has the capability, whether it is painting or making music or writing or even doing numbers. I think of accountants or cooking. I mean, everything. We have a creative source in our mind and we need to access it because it makes us more of a whole person.
Marianne Crow-Healy, who is the Executive Director of the Blackfoot Canadian Cultural Society and Blackfoot Family Lodge Society, was recognized with the Joan Waterfield Memorial Award for her work over nearly 5 decades advocating and advancing the Niitsitapi culture. Some Lethbridge home builders are showing off their latest creations. The annual Lethbridge Parade of Homes is now open for residents and curious home buyers to take a look at. It's a 16-day event that began last weekend and runs through September the 28th. The parade showcases some of the newest housing developments in the region with 20 show homes in Lethbridge and Coaldale built by 6 building companies. Residents can tour each house to enter and win various backyard prize packs and get a feel for how housing designs have evolved.
Well, there's so much to see, and there's so many new things happening in housing, in innovation, in design, and every community. So it's 9 communities throughout Lethbridge and Coaldale. Every community is a little bit different. So take a look at what area the houses are located in. It gives you a sense of how our cities are building. That's what's so exciting about this parade is you really get a chance to see what's being built and how our cities are growing, how Coaldale is growing, how Lethbridge is growing, and how these builders are adapting to meet demand of the customer. And housing starts are absolutely up over 2024, certainly well over 2023. So we're in a boom, and it's a great time to be here.
We try to structure our homes to be able to live in so that there's a lot of functionality in it. And so when we get a lot of people through, like for the last 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, the first 2 days of the parade, we had just about 1,800 people through our houses. And so we got a lot of opinions, some good, some bad, but we take that into consideration because we're trying to satisfy a lot of people's needs. And this gives us an opportunity to get a lot of information in a very short period of time.
Lethbridge saw a 26% increase in housing starts in the first 2 quarters of this year compared to last year, according to the statistics from the Canadian Mortgage and Housing Corporation. The map of homes can be found on the Parade of Homes website. The Lethbridge Hurricanes announced their leadership group for the upcoming season. Logan Warmold will be the team's 33rd franchise captain, taking over the mantle from Noah Chadwick. The alternate captains will be Shane Smith, Luke Cousins, and newcomer Matteo Fabrizi, acquired in a trade with Prince Albert. The new captains say they're prepared to lead the young team that features plenty of first years entering the league.
Yeah, obviously super honored. Obviously plenty of guys left from last year, and someone kind of had to take over Chatty's role, and I guess the coaches thought that would be me. And yeah, like I said, super honored, super proud, and excited to lead this group.
On the financial side of things, the Canes announced the team made a profit of over $1.1 million in the 2024-25 season, with help from their run to the Eastern Conference Finals last playoffs and the expansion fees received from the Penticton Vs entering the WHL this year. The franchise also saw a climb in their average game day attendance to 3,791 last year. Well, the race for City Council is heating up, and we've got 2 councils coming up next.